What's up, everybody? After a little brief hiatus here, we're back with another one for the Keeper's Corner. And it's the start of a new week. The new reset hasn't quite started yet, but we do have our new event now that the Golden Horde has ended. And it's our very first holiday-themed event, which will be the Egg Hunt. It'll last 1 week, which means it will lead right into the day after Easter. And during this event, we can earn assorted portal stones. Unlike my previous videos, I have not gone ahead and pre-cleared this yet, so you guys get an opportunity to see the rewards as I progress through it. But it's 12 stages, 3 difficulties per stage, so a total of 36 stages. From the looks of it, the normal and hard stages all have regular portal stones. Hopefully the extremes will have all gold. I haven't gone through to check those yet. But we're going with the team here of the Knight, the Amazon, the Archer, and the Shaman. You will probably see me using the Archer a fair bit more in my coming videos, as I just crafted him this String of the Gods, which is a great epic weapon for either the Archer or the Ranger. The Archer isn't quite as feasible in PvP and hero battles and such, but in terms of PvE, he's an incredibly powerful hero. He's a great tower defender as well. He pairs very nicely with the Warlock or the Archmage because of the bonus damage he gets while an enemy's under 40% HP. So if you're able to Meteor Swarm or Shadow Sensor an enemy down to below 40%, you will get that damage boost when using his Swarm of Arrows, and you can also wait for Take Aim to proc and get an extra 190% bonus damage on it, or whatever Take Aim gives. And as we can see, that last chest didn't give us a portal stone, it gave us a crappy green leather jerkin, so hopefully we don't get too many of those non-portal stone chests, because this will definitely be a great way for a lot of you guys to get those 4th and 5th stars on your heroes. Another really good thing about the Archer, of course, is he does have quite a bit of true damage. Both Headshot and Swarm of Arrows are true damage attacks. He also pairs very nicely with the Shaman and the Archmage in terms of trying to build a line damage team using the Earthen Strike, the Beam of Death, and the Archer's line damage ability. I apologize for the notifications there. That's just fools on Discord who won't shut up. It's like 7:30 in the morning. What are you talking for right now? But as you can see, these are all pretty straightforward campaigns. There are a couple epic monsters on a few of these stages, but nothing that's just too difficult to deal with. We'll see when we get to the end what the final stage looks like, but it should be pretty much on par with the Golden Horde and the Sorceress Adventure and such in terms of difficulty. Now, hopefully in the next week or two, after this event, or possibly the following event, we'll be getting a new Revenge chapter that will hopefully prove a little more challenging. This one is, in particular, has been crafted by our lovely Mr. Rohan over at the Ninja Kiwi headquarters, or whatever you want to call it. But using their new campaign editor, it really allows any of their people to craft their own campaign so long as they have some knowledge of it. And from what he's explained, it will either be too difficult, too easy, or just perfect. And he does know his stuff pretty well, so I got a feeling it's going to be just right. And in that regard, either way, it's nice to get some new content regularly. Although the rewards in some of these chests leave a lot to be wanting. 50 guild marks there isn't quite a reward as much as it is a, hey, go do something else and get some guild marks. Or if you're in Elysium, you don't need any guild marks because all you can buy is battle keys. Of course, if you are a top 50 PvP player and you're looking to join Elysium, you can always apply with our fearless leader, Mr. Beatific. And although he can be a little bit of a caged bear at times, he's a very nice dude. Despite what anybody may say about him, he's a very helpful leader. and he's always got the best interest of our guild and our guild members in mind. But that being said, a lot of us put in a lot of work for Elysium, so if you aren't able to put in those big prestige counts, definitely think twice before applying. However, if you are in that top 50 PvP range and you're pulling 6 or 7 or 10k a week in prestige, it's definitely worth giving it a shot at applying. You can contact Beatific via the Discord Tower Keepers headquarters server, which you can access through towerkeepershq.com. For any of you that are happen to be watching these videos from somewhere else other than that Discord server, definitely try and make your way over to join us there. There's a lot more strategy and help to be had amongst that group of players, as well as a few of the Ninja Kiwi admins available for help and assistance when needed. And a very, very cool feature that Mr. Rohan has decided to grace us with his presence there in that Discord channel. I've personally played a lot of games like this over the years, and not a single one of them has had the level of transparency that this game has had from its developer. The folks at Ninja Kiwi have just been excellent about keeping us filled in on everything that's going on, things that are coming, things that are going to be changed, bug fixes. I mean, they're really on top of everything. So, definitely a game that I foresee having some pretty good longevity. We had a few problems with cheaters in the past 2 weeks or so, which a few of you might have saw, and those were dealt with pretty promptly. And there's no need to be cheating if you're having any trouble with this game, or progression, strategy, PvP, gold farming, any of those things. Just feel free to check out some of the other videos here on the Keeper's Corner channel, and those will definitely help you along your way. Because I promise you, if you will cheat, you will be found and you will be banned. And nobody wants to get banned from a game they like. That would just be a bummer. And yeah, if you're a free-to-play player, you're probably going to get pounded by some pay-to-win guys sometimes. But even the best of us got to take it once in a while. I can't tell you how many times I've faced Mr. Jimren and been utterly destroyed despite all of my epics and nice heroes. So this is definitely just a game of patience, as I've said many times in previous videos. Farming hero stones, or hero stars and soul stones and such, is more so just a time factor than anything. And for most people, I'd say it'll take about 3 months to get your 4- and 5-star epic heroes across the board. I really wouldn't try and focus too much on find loot and things like that with those epic heroes, because they do have such low drop chance. And catacombs and things like that are so food demanding. You don't really want to be wasting food searching for epic heroes when you're never going to find them. But on that note, you definitely want to be picking up common, uncommon, and rare stones through find loot, through the hero shop, and then sending your epic heroes on your shorter heroic missions and keeping them in your tower defense for those tower rewards. So we got a couple wizard tickets, a couple armor boosters so far, so there is a little bit of a mix-up in rewards here. I definitely should have said various components instead of various assorted portal stones, because to be honest, I think I've only gotten 3 portal stones so far. Hopefully these later stages will give us a little bit of a better reward in that sense. Excuse me. And of course, you can run this with whatever your premier PvP or PvE team is going to be. For some of you guys, that's going to be the Cleric and Druid with the Shaman and Knight here, and maybe the War Master Paladin combo. I personally have just been screwing around with this Archer because I do have him near 7 stars now, and I did just craft this epic bow for him. And there are some really interesting combinations with the Archer. A few things I was playing around with is running him with the Cavalier for the physical damage bonus, because every one of the Archer's attack skills is physical damage. Or the combination of the Necromancer and the Barbarian, which I've covered in previous Wizard Chosen videos, as a great single target duo with Ray of Enfeeblement and Baleful Glare, stacking those defense reductions And a high-level ambusher's hacker on the barbarian will definitely serve her well with that team. And the archer as well, because his base damage isn't quite as high, adding in those debuffs when activating his own personal buff with take aim and headshot or swarm of arrows, you can really get some huge crits in PvP if you do decide to take him on that route. I mean, upwards of 2,000 to 3,000 under the right conditions, which would typically be a attack buff, a defense debuff on your enemy, take aim, and headshot will be what combines to give you those huge critical numbers. And of course he does get that big damage boost whenever the enemy's below 40%. And we are coming up on the end of the Learned Scholar Festival here. So if you haven't checked out my video on the Learned Scholar and the efficiency of spending gold when learning your scrolls and things like that, definitely want to head over and check that out before the event ends. And make sure you use up those scrolls efficiently and effectively so that you're not wasting gold on rewards that aren't quite worth it. And we are coming up on the end of our weekly reset here in the next 36 hours or so. So you definitely want to be working on those last few thousand points in Catacombs if you still need them, working on climbing the leaderboards in PvP if that's what you're trying to do, finishing up those top 1% and all those good things. And we should be having up next for the hero skins the Archmage after the Kensai here. And after the Sorceress, it should go back to the Archer's quest unless they present us with a new one. And we've had gold and training points as our last two, so we can assume the Masons campaign will be our next special campaign. Which of course will finish with a free Void Core, so those are always welcomed. So that's two sets of uncommon boosters in this, one for armor and one for machines there, it looks like. The armor and weapon ones can be pretty valuable at the 20 to 30 range if you use them to level up lower level items, and then take those lower level items to combine into your higher level items. And it doesn't always work out in your favor. Usually with rare or higher, the taking a level 30 item up to 40 and then combining it into a level 40 item is going to net you more experience than taking 6 or 9 level 30 boosters and putting those into a level 40 item. But it is a little different with every item and every rarity, so you do have to be careful. It's pretty easy to check by adding together the different combiners in your combination window and seeing how much the tokens will give you versus an item of equal level. Because you really don't want to waste all of those low-level combination tokens on a high-level item. Especially when there are things like the gem event that give a Vorpal sword at level 30 at the very end. You will occasionally encounter items that you acquire through festivals and events that are absolutely usable, but they start at only level 30, so you definitely want to have some of those lower level combination tokens available for those items. It's interesting to see that the 11th stage here is a boss, and as we said, there are 12 stages, so those are back-to-back boss stages. I don't know what kind of boss this guy is. He's just a really big goblin, but we'll go ahead and take him out. These all seem to be a fairly low difficulty curve, probably because it is a holiday event. They want everybody to be able to participate. Hopefully in the future they'll be able to institute touchable backgrounds and things. A really neat idea for this would be to have eggs hiding in the bushes and the grass that you have to tap as you progress through the level. And of course, if you are on that Discord server, you are always able to go in and give your feedback and suggestions to the Ninja Kiwi guys, and Rohan will pass it along to the team. And we've even seen some of those suggestions implemented since the global launch, so they are always listening. It's definitely worth checking out. As you can see, the normal chest rewards there on 11 weren't too great, but we do get 10 gems and 5 stones on normal for level 12, 2 and 6 raid tickets on level 11. So this is a fairly rewarding campaign here. As you can see, the Archimedes is the boss on this stage, so we're going to go ahead and get rid of that Dinkus Archer. We're going to put our Cleric in here with the Ambusher's Hacker, the Shaman with the Fist of the Dark One and the Chain Skin, the Vorpal Sword and Strength of Legend on the Knight, and the Frostspike and the Wormhide on the Amazon. Of course, you don't need these full epic builds to complete these stages, as you've seen in my other videos. And I would typically suggest a perfect katana on the Knight over the Vorpal Sword. I personally was encountering some problems with my DPS and tower attacks, so I was experimenting with using that Vorpal Sword. I'm not quite sure what this level 5 guy thinks he's doing. What the heck is going on in this stage? This is level 5 bandits? This is confusing, and I'm not sure if it's working as intended. Hopefully this is like a really hard final stage. Oh, there's that new Archmage skin, though. The purpley nurpley, hidden behind these giant eyeballs, so we can't even see it. So let's see if we can't kill one of these eyeballs off early on the bottom and get a better look at this skin here. Now, of course, anytime you run into these large Eye of the Beholder, Nightmare Watcher, gooey eyeball guys, you really got to watch out for their Cone of Fire and their poison on the Knight and whoever you have behind him. The Cone of Fire in particular, if you do not have any fire resistance on your heroes, can become pretty menacing. And there we see the new Archmage skin a little better without that eyeball blocking him. It's definitely a really awesome looking skin. And that should be coming out next week after the Kensai skin. From what I understand, these skins are being done in the order of use for each hero in PvP. So we started off with the most used hero, the Samurai, and we'll be going from there to the next most used heroes. So if you're looking for a skin for the Mystic or Berserker or the Witch, those will probably be dead last, as those are little used heroes. But as you can see, the hard and extreme stages here are probably going to require a fair amount of elemental resistance. And a few things we can do with that is put in the Barbarian, the Templar, the Cleric, all have passives that boost elemental resistance. So we'll go ahead and check out a few of those passive abilities now, after we throw some stones into the portal. It always kind of bothered me that you could just tap the screen too. You should force you to toss these. And I mean, it really should allow us to buy these, but that's aside the point. And I mean 1 at a time, not 10 at a time. So that's the entirety, for the most part, of the egg hunt. As you can see, the final boss of the final chapter is the Archmage with a Rod of Ruin, which can be a pretty menacing opponent if you are not well prepared. We're going to go ahead and drop the attack boost off of the Amazon. Although I do really like that bonus attack, the health boost is just so significant when combined with this worm armor. It makes her one of the highest HP heroes in the game. Coming in at 2400 right now, at 5 stars. The Shaman here is going to take a back seat for this fight in lieu of the... Well, you know what? Let's go with the Druid, since most people aren't going to have all of the epic armor that I have. We're probably going to need a 2-healer build on this. And if I hadn't covered this in the past, you typically want to be using Charismatic Leader with Tithe as opposed to healing with Tithe. Healer does not really give as big of a boost to your heal abilities as you would think. It helps a little bit with Righteous Call and Cleanse and Quick Heal, but not quite as much as the Druid, who has the much longer heal over time spells and the active heal over time spell with her Rapid Regeneration soul skill. But we're going to go ahead and put the Flare Vest and the Rod of Ruin on her for soul energy gain. And we'll probably go ahead and put Cyclone on her as well, so we can make sure we have the energy we need to resurrect with the Cleric if we need to. And unfortunately, that's going to mean dropping Renewal, which, if you're you're struggling to survive, you might want to keep Renewal in there. Renewal is, of course, probably the best PvE healing ability in the game. It's not quite as powerful in PvP because it can be dispelled by the Spell Sword. But with all 10 or 12 stacks, I want to say, at max skill level, it's really the only heal that's going to heal for upwards of 1,000 health. Which, of course, can be greatly valuable in tower attacks and things like that. And while this boss is quite dangerous, these stages here do definitely seem a little bit lazy. And now coming into this as well with the Shaman and the Archmage might help, because they both have the line attacks that can penetrate through this wall and hit the Archmage here a little sooner. You can also come with a build of good soul skill ranged attacks or AoE attacks like the Warlock and the Archmage with the Epic Wand or the Rod of Ruin, because as you see here, you do approach the boss with full soul skill. And when you're using the Amazon, you do want to pay better attention to your skill cycling than I do. I have a tendency to sometimes waste my frenzies by using them too soon, or when there's a triple strike or heart strike or something like that about to come up in the cycle. You always want to save your frenzies for when there are no Amazon skills available, or when she's just finished the last skill in her cycle. That will get you the most output in terms of DPS and soul energy gain. And now, although the first time we went ahead and killed this bottom cone of fire, eyeball, sticky face, to show that Archmage skin a little bit better, in most of these runs you're going to want to target him right off the bat and get rid of him before you can go pulling up a bunch of meteor swarms or disintegrates that are going to nuke your squad. Fortunately, he doesn't seem to be using Poison Cloud, which makes this much easier for the Knight if the Knight had to deal with the poison from both eyeballs and the Archmage. She might have a little bit of a hard time with that, even with the heals from the Druid and the Cleric. As we've covered before, the Knight is very weak to poison. And that is, of course, the reason we're usually using the perfect katana equipped to him. Oh, that is the hard difficulty, which, as we can see here, has netted us a regular battle chest, 6 portal stones, and a handful of ancient skill scrolls. So absolutely, if you are still doing the Learned Scholar quest, try and complete these as early as possible within the next, 17 hours or 2 days until the Learned Scholar event ends. Get as many of these ancient skill scrolls as you can and go learn them individually for that lower gold cost. Remember, the ancient skill scrolls are going to cost 100 gold to read, but they're going to count for reading 3 regular scrolls for the event. So if you are able to complete the event entirely with just ancient scrolls, you're looking at about 60,000 gold, 67,000 gold, somewhere in that range, and about 633 ancient scrolls total to equal that 2,000 mark. But as we can see in the extreme here, the rewards are going to be 10 catacomb maps, 5 golden portal stones, 5,000 gold, and 500 guild marks. We're going to go ahead and make a run at this with the same squad here. However, I have a feeling we may need to change up for some better damage on the Archmage right off the bat. We will see here. Now, of course, as I mentioned, both the Druid and the Barbarian have those significant all-resistance buffs that do pair very well with the charismatic leader from the Cleric. And we don't want to use any soul skills on the way up to this boss. We don't want to be coming into the Archmage's room with anything on cooldown or any wasted soul energy, as these single mobs won't usually even get a turn against us, but if they do, they're not going to do much damage to our knight. Now, one thing you can do here is the Ranger's self-buff is currently persisting through stages. I've seen a few people use a frontline Ranger with that armor boost of hers, and it can get pretty significant, so she might be a decent option for running through those first 5 stages, building up that armor boost, and then sending out your attacks once you hit the final room here. But as we can see, a level 76 Archmage is a quite menacing foe, considered we're used to dealing with them in the 40 to 50 range. Of course, the level cap is level 50, which will probably be quite a while before they go raising that level cap any. And now we get to see how mighty his Meteor Swarm is. Probably greatly. Ouch! Yeah, that's a pretty brutal Meteor Swarm. It actually killed off our Druid here, who's not wearing the epic leather, which may be an issue for some of us. Not wearing the epic armors in these stages does not give you the significant magic resistance you usually need to survive these high-level Archmages. We're going to see if the Druid can invigor herself there, build us up a little bit of soul energy for a rapid regen. And it looks like the end of days for our Knigget. We got our Righteous Call here to build a little more soul energy. He's trucking through like a champ. That is, of course, the value of the Strength of Legend. And now you're going to want to, if you're bringing the Druid, put as many entangles onto this Archmage as humanly possible. That is going to absolutely save you in terms of him getting off too many of those disintegrates. And you see right there was a very bad frenzy. Don't ever frenzy like I did just there, where you have triple strike and your other abilities ready to come up. But as you can see, this is a pretty difficult one if you do not have the magic resistance. The Paladin Warmaster combination might be able to do it here, but as we've seen, the defense does not give you as much help against the Archmage as magic resistance does. Once again, there's those final rewards, and that was the Egg Hunt in its completion, for the most part, from stages 3 to 12 or so, as well as all 3 stages on the final level there. There are some decent rewards, it looks like, so you definitely want to get in and check this one out as soon as possible. We'll go ahead and toss these stones into the portal here. And of course, gold stones are going to be probably your best source of leveling up your super rares. Your epic stones don't come nearly as often in the gold stones as a lot of us would like. But your super rare heroes will get up there pretty quick if you're pulling a decent amount of golden stones every week. Anyhow, that was the Egg Hunt. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions, comments, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. Subscribe to the Keeper's Corner if you want to see all the new and upcoming tips and tricks as I add new videos every week. And I will catch you guys on the flip side.